How's it going, guys? This is Move to Improve, the podcast that talks about health and fitness from the lens of elite athletes and sports chiropractors. My name is Dr. Matthew Jurgis, and here with me is sports chiropractic expert Dr. Greg Uchaz. Our guest today is professional Muay Thai fighter and owner of the club Fight Fit YYC, Scott Smash Mackenzie. How you doing today, Scott?
Hey, I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, man, it's nice to finally get you here, eh? So, I'm going to jump in. Greg Uchaz here. So, I asked Scott to kind of come on the show. How long have we been working together?
Man, I don't even know. I'm so bad with stuff like that.
So, do you remember when you competed at Winsport?
Yeah.
How many years ago was that?
I think that was like 2017.
Yeah,
and
so
it was
maybe
before that we were working together. So probably like since like 2016, I'd say.
Maybe we can get a little better. So you only had a tattoo on your...
Yeah, you've seen me get all my tattoos basically.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'd come in and I'd have a new piece and he'd be like, this is new.
Yeah,
this
right.
is weird.
Where
This
the
leg
hell
looks
did this come
different.
from? Yeah, we worked with each other a long time. So we kind of wanted to do a podcast, if you're okay with this. I want, well, certainly Fight Fit YYC, you want to talk about your business, right? But I want to talk, like, what was super cool to me was, I've known you for, like, probably, so now we're probably 6 years, 7 years working together. So what I found is you used to be just a grumpy old bear when you were cutting weight, right? For competition, especially that one competition you did where you really went a lower weight class. But you used to be super grumpy, and then more recent years, cutting weight, way better, right? So you've gotten a lot better at it.
Yeah.
You still overtrain. I know you overtrain. You always do have to fix you up constantly, but you've gotten better at that too. Right, but so we can talk a little bit about that, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about the healthcare piece, right? How we work together and kind of keep you going, and so let's do that. So let's, if it's okay with you, Matt,
of course.
let's just, who's Scott Mackenzie?
Yeah, so I'm a Muay Thai athlete. I compete as a super middleweight, and I'm ranked number 1 in Canada. Or close to number 1, kind of depends. I've been fighting since 2012. I've had something like 34, 35 fights. I always forget. And then lots of knockouts. I fought all around the world. I fought for Team Canada multiple times. I've coached for Team Canada once. And I'm still an active athlete, still trying to compete through COVID, but
It's been brutal.
yeah.
Yeah, you're Pan Am champ. Right?
Yeah, I
Pan
won
American
gold
Games.
at Pan Am's in Buenos Aires, Argentina in 2018.
I remember that. That was good.
Yeah, and I was the first WBC Muay Thai Canadian champion once they brought those national titles in.
And that was out at Seven Chiefs, right?
Yeah.
I was there for that. That was a crazy fight.
Yeah.
Like your ability to come back and just smash him.
Yeah.
I remember I was with a buddy Tasso, and we had a table there. And when you came back on him, we were just everybody's jumping up and down. It was such a great fight.
A little too dramatic for anyone who hasn't seen the fight. It's on YouTube, but I got dropped in the 3rd round with a spinning back elbow. He almost knocked me out. Yeah. And then I got up and survived and came back towards the end of the round, and then in round 4 I knocked him out.
You just decided to get angry.
That was I actually saw that just recently. That was an insane fight because you got up from that elbow pretty wobbly. He clipped you pretty dang hard.
Yeah, my brain and my body weren't talking to each other. I was like totally lucid, but like I was like, whoa, my legs are not under me at all.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask you about that. Like when you're in that situation and you can't fully trust your body and your movements, how do you does that spook yourself when you're in the moment, or do you kind of just pull yourself back together and focus on the task at hand?
You definitely gotta be smart. Like when you see guys get dropped and then they get mad and they try to go right into it right away, that's usually when guys get knocked out super bad. Mm-hmm. You have to be play it safe until you get your equilibrium back, because that's what it usually is. Usually your brain, your mind is really clear, but your body and mind connection is just kind of fuzzy. So your legs, you kind of got baby deer legs, and like you just have to let that clear. But in order for you to get that, you need to play it safe for a little bit, right? Which is tough to do because usually the other guy's waiting across the ring for the ref to stop counting you so he can come and kill you. But
right,
yeah,
and that's kind of what he was trying to do, but
Yeah.
maybe overcommitted and
yeah, no,
didn't land him.
That was a great fight though for that next round. Holy jeez. It looked like he just got angry. And it's just like there was nothing that guy could do. That was great. I also saw some fights where you actually got the old liver shots in there too, eh?
Yeah, no, definitely. As a southpaw, like I'm left-handed, most of my power strikes are from the left side, which hits the right side of their body where the liver is. So that's my favorite. Left kick to the liver, that hurts.
Yeah. And it just like it's paralyzing, right?
Yeah.
I saw that one guy, he just kicked it and you just stood there and he just wilted.
Yeah.
His legs also went boom.
Yeah.
Spaghetti, yeah.
Anyways, we're totally off topic. So I've treated you for years. You even went, you were in Vegas one time, right? You fought in Vegas. Seen you fight in Acapulco. Seen you fight in, was it Buenos Aires? Is that where the Pan Ams were?
Buenos Aires, Lima, Thailand, all over the States.
Yeah.
Saskatchewan.
Oh, really?
In a bar in Saskatoon.
Did you win that one? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you've won most of your fights, I guess. So, yeah. Right on. So, okay. So I wanted to get into this. So, like I said, you're a grumpy old man sometimes when you're cutting weight when you're early on, right? I remember that. And it's like you're starving yourself, right, to make cut weight and to make weight, right?
Yeah.
And then, you've done so much study and investigation and practical experience in nutrition, right? And I've seen you do blogs and you've done video series and you've done postings and you've done a lot of different stuff on proper nutrition, how to cut weight. So can again, you don't have to get all of your secrets or whatever, but like, what happened? What was the change?
Yeah, I'd say my...
Oh, your ride's here.
I'd definitely say that, like, over the years, my transition from just being kind of like grumpy fight camp guy to like where I'm at now is like pretty multifaceted. It has a lot to do with nutrition. It has a lot to do with how I train. It has a lot to do with injury management, even just sleeping better. But definitely the nutrition piece is something that I was missing a lot in my early career. Like I would just kind of eat like without any consideration of eating for performance, and I didn't really know much about, like I knew what food was healthy, but I didn't know how to eat for sports performance.
Yeah.
And so I was always, like looking back, I was chronically low carb, probably not eating nearly enough protein, way too much fat, like nuts and seeds and stuff, and like just not good fuel, right? Like Muay Thai in general is like a repeat sprint event, so you need a lot of carbs for that because you're putting out really high intensity effort. Then you have a little bit of rest, then you do it again, a little bit of rest, do it again. So it's just super carb dependent. And there's this old school mentality in fighting where, oh, carbs will make you gain weight, so don't eat carbs or you'll gain weight. And since I've like got a nutritional education and I've worked with some of the best nutritionists in the game to help me with my fight camps, and I've just kind of taken their approach and adopted it and made it my own. I'm eating way more food than I ever used to eat. I'm able to maintain my weight much easier, and I have way more energy, and I'm recovering faster from training sessions because you're fueling yourself properly, right? So I would definitely say that like my mood in the past was definitely had an edge to it just because I was always starving.
Yeah, you're always starving.
Always starving, always under recovered, not sleeping very well because you're under recovered and you're under fueled, and then you're going into your next training session already a little bit depleted, so it just kind of compounds throughout the fight camp.
Yeah. No, and in fairness to you, years ago when you come in, you go, Doc, I'm pretty grumpy.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Credit to my girlfriend Megan for staying with me for so long.
Right.
When I cut down to a lighter weight class.
That lighter weight class, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, that was. Like, I usually fight at 165 pounds, which is super middleweight, but I had an opportunity to fight at 160 for a middleweight title, and I had just gotten the super middleweight title in that same promotion earlier, so I was like, oh, I'm going to be the 2-division champ. So I was like, oh, 5 more pounds, that's nothing. But I worked with I worked with actually a nutrition coach for that fight, but he had a really like bodybuilding mentality where he wanted to whittle me down to like absolutely nothing. So I would barely have to cut weight, but it ended up being this super restrictive diet where I was just like waking up in the middle of the night starving. I couldn't even sleep. Like I'd have like half a spoonful of honey just so I could go back to bed. It was miserable. Like,
Yeah.
But I got down to like ridiculously low body fat, like 3%, 4% body fat. Not healthy at all. I looked like Skeletor.
I don't know why, but a picture came up. I was talking to somebody recent times, and a picture came up of you at that weight class. And you don't
look like a different person.
You don't look good.
Yeah, no, way too lean.
You'll never compete at that level at that weight class.
It's funny because now I could healthily.
Is that right?
Oh yeah. Like my last fight in Mexico, I went into my weight cut about like 173, 172 pounds, and I could, doing my new method of weight cutting, I could easily touch 160 from that. No problem. Oh yeah, no problem, and then refuel back up. But like back then, I was also cutting weight poorly. Like I was just trying to sweat it all out or starve myself for a day and a half and just dumb stuff. So now it's a much more scientific approach.
Is it still a goal of yours to compete in 2 different weight classes?
No, not really. I mean, I have a pretty good home at 165 pounds. There's lots of competition for me there. Just like the restriction that it takes to get that low just isn't really worth it to me at this point. I'd rather just take on the best guys at the weight class I'm at. I know I'm strong for my weight class, so I don't really need to cut down.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of guys kind of get cocky and overextend themselves that way and then pay for it later.
And like just because you make the weight doesn't mean you should, right? Like you see some guys, they make the weight and then they can't even break an egg in their fight, or they get concussion symptoms easier because their brain's dehydrated. And yeah, it's just not always a good idea to go down.
So Dr. Jurgis trains Muay Thai, and obviously you're a Muay Thai athlete. Maybe, I don't know, our listenership, should we tell them? I mean, we should maybe done this at the beginning, but what is Muay Thai, right? It's kind of like boxing with kickboxing with elbows, right?
Yeah, I like to say, like, people like to say it's like kickboxing with elbows, but I like to say it's like kickboxing but more violent.
Yeah.
Like, it's the national sport of Thailand, and it evolved as like kind of a battlefield martial art. Like if you dropped your spear now is your knee. If you dropped your short sword, now you have your elbow, right? So it's a very practical martial art. That's why I like it. There's no flashy stuff that has no purpose. There's no kata. There's no, really in traditional Muay Thai, there's no belt system even. It's just strictly a fighting sport. And it's just punches, kicks, elbows, knees. So you got 8 weapons you can hit with. It's sometimes called the art of 8 limbs. And it's super, super functional. Like most good MMA fighters you'll see in the ring today are training Muay Thai as well, because it's just such a complete and functional striking system.
Yeah, I think UFC has definitely kind of spread the word that Muay Thai is the striking sport, the striking technique to really bring your game up.
And it kind of, like, the good thing about Muay Thai too is it's not just like one-dimensional, like these are the only Muay Thai techniques you can do. They take techniques from Taekwondo, they take techniques from Western boxing, and they kind of make it as part of Muay Thai. So that's what's cool about it too.
So there's always, before I knew you, there was always this sentiment that martial arts is reserved for people who were really serious about competing in martial arts, or it just seemed almost secret everyone. You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it, but since I met you, I already know you're the best person you've ever trained is. It's me, I know.
The hardest left hand.
Yeah, what do you call it, the Widowmaker?
Yeah.
So so I did training with you and my boys, right? And at the time, what were they? 10 and 12 or something like that, right? So, and I just came to realize it is fantastic for training, for working out, right? And my kids loved it. In fact, I still have one son who goes like every week, right? Like he's training. You put us with a different trainer because you were training for fights and stuff. But he goes like every week and still trains, right?
That's awesome.
And it just loves it. Just loves it. And I don't know if he'll ever compete or not, but he doesn't, he maybe like to spar with somebody, but it's not for the few people that want to compete. It's a great workout. So I want to talk about the healthcare piece and how we go back and forth. Do we want to do that now, or do you want to talk about Fight Fit?
No, let's talk about that. Yeah, the health piece.
The health piece. Okay. So you and I have been working together for, I think 6 to 8 years, right?
Yeah.
I have to figure it out, right? So how did you find me in the first place, actually? Remember?
I don't remember. Actually, no.
I don't remember either.
Someone, I think it might have been my friend who was director at Winsport referred me to you because he had been to see you. Yeah.
Jason.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he referred me.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I don't really know, man, because I had a couple of years there where I bounced around to just I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus, but terrible practitioners, guys who would just take your money, wouldn't fix your injuries.
Yeah, but in fairness, they probably aren't sports specialists, right? It's not their...
Yeah, it's hard to say, but just the level of care even was very poor, and it's kind of one of those things you don't know what you don't know. So you'd go and see this person, and they'd be like, oh yeah, I'll book you for next week, and the week after that, and the week after that. And then after a while, I'm like, don't you want me to get better? I shouldn't need to see you for this one injury for 8 weeks. Don't you want me to get better? I don't understand. And so I bounced around to a number of different practitioners with different titles, and had some bad experiences with that. And then once I found Proactive and started working with you, I was like, oh wow, I can get treated, still go to training tonight. My issue is if not 100% better, then noticeably better after 1 or 2 treatments. And my training just went to another level because I was taking less time off for being injured.
Yeah. Well, in fair, I guess, I was just saying, you had a few injuries. It took a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Partially dislocated ribs, and oh my gosh. Yeah, for the most part.
Broken ribs, you can't really speed up.
Yeah, but no, that's good. Yeah, so because my job, our job here as chiros, and then all the other services, work with the physio and the naturopath and the massage therapist, is basically to idealize motion, right? So we're trying to get you to perform to the best of your ability, period, right? By making sure that your body is moving perfectly, everything's firing, joints are working well, muscles are firing well, and when you have an injury, fixing it up quickly and fixing it up completely. Right? So we're rehabbing you. So there's criteria that you do for rehabbing in terms of how much volume, how much intensity, how much frequency of training, what kind of training, what are the return to sport criteria. Once we get you through that, we can you can get back to sport. So that's kind of always been our thing, right? It's okay, well, let's get you through this process as much as can, and we get super aggressive with the types of treatments we do based on the patients that can handle it, right? So athletes can handle an extremely aggressive approach to manipulating and working tissues, whether it's muscle, ligaments, bones, tendons, joints, all that stuff, right? So yeah, it's been fun working with you because a guy who's fit and works out as much as you do, you're able to really delve into aggressive treatment, and we can really get you aggressively fixed.
I only scream a little bit.
Yeah. Well, that's my revenge after you would put me through an hour of training and beat the snot out of me. Yeah.
But that's a good point Scott made there, which is you should be seeing those objective improvements, and if you're not seeing them, then there's a conversation to be had about what's missing here and how do we get that. And yeah, there should be something to show for it for sure.
Yeah, and in our world, it's huge, right? Everything's about objective and measure. You should have increased range of motion, improved firing pattern, better tissue texture, et cetera, right?
Right.
Yeah, nice.
Letting your work kind of speak for yourself.
Yeah. So I guess, it's been okay. We've been together for about 6 to 8 years now, eh?
Yeah, no, I've definitely come in with what you would call total body failure a number of times, or with pit of doom mentality. Come in with some injury and you're just like, no, we can definitely fix this. It'll be fine. I've come in before, in fight camp, being like, I'm gonna have to pull out from this fight, and you're like, nah, don't worry about it. This will be good to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely saved me.
Well, I better tell our listenership that like half of our job here is mental game, and then half of it's physical rehab, right?
Yeah.
Got to keep everybody going in the right path, the right direction. Yeah, but sometimes you just get caught up in the middle of it, right? So you gotta try and manage expectations with everything. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So okay, well that's great. So yeah, I don't think we need to talk a ton about the whole treatment piece, but just let everybody know that why you're here and how we know each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, so Fight Fit YYC, right? And because I don't that's your job, really, right?
Yeah.
Job now is what's it called? Heritage Center? No, Vision Sports Center, right? It's just off of Heritage there on Flint Road, right? I've been there a number of times, and so your job really is just training people, right?
Yeah.
Like the times I've been in there, you are not training elite fighters. You were training middle-aged men, women,
Yeah.
that
No, absolutely. People from all walks of life, all ages.
Well, I've seen a bunch of kids too, right? My kids in camps and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's good. People, they just need to. I like when people see martial arts as like a new challenge for them to try, and they step out of their comfort zone, right? Like not many people like going to the gym and just running on the treadmill. It's mind numbing. It's boring. You can think about the rest of your day, so it's not like you're getting a break.
Yeah.
Muay Thai and like strength and conditioning and stuff, working with a trainer, it's kind of like fitness, but it's also like escapism from the rest of your day. You you unplug, you put your phone in your gym bag, you learn a new skill, you get a wicked workout.
Yeah. Not only incredible cardio, but you're learning how to use your anatomy so functionally. You're learning how to, use the entire chain, transmit forces throughout your entire body, and like you're saying, you got 8 weapons, so learning how to use each and every one of them can really pull the whole biomechanics and functional movement together. So from our perspective, it's just a wonderful
Totally.
exercise.
You see people's just like overall balance improve so much, their fitness level improves so much, even like just their confidence, right? Being confident in your physical abilities is something a lot of people don't have.
Mm-hmm.
And you go and do Muay Thai and you learn how to punch, you learn how to kick. Some people I just work boxing with, the kicking's a little too much for where they're at, but yeah, you see people's confidence just improve big time. It's awesome.
And the best part is you get to go in a ring.
Yeah, totally.
And you're holding the pads, and I'm hitting the pads, and he makes that wicked sound, and you feel like you could smash it. And you're like I'm a complete bag of but it's still pretty cool. And then you think you're all that, right? And then so what he does one day is he does a video. He puts his phone in the corner, and we do a round, right, where he's we do it right. Let's go cross, okay, hook, okay, undercut, right, jab, and I'm thinking, oh man, am I nailing this? And then I look at the video going, I am that bad.
I still get that. I watch a video of myself hitting pads, and I'll be like, wow, I thought I was so much faster than that. I'm so slow.
Yeah, but it feels so good when you do it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I could tell he was feeling like the man, because there's a couple of weeks there where he'd come into the clinic and start, jab, 1, 2 on me while he's passing me in the hallway. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, until you see a video yourself, you're like, yeah, it's not that good. Okay, so how do people get a hold of you? I think people listening should train with you, man.
Yeah, no, that'd be
awesome. When you're not in fight camp.
So I work with people from all walks of life, all ages, all abilities and skill levels, right from complete beginners, you've never even made a fist before, to professionals.
No, my kids haven't done it, right? None of us had, right, when we started. Yeah, you were great.
So my website is fightfityyc.com, and I'm most active on Instagram at fightfityyc and at Scott Smash Mackenzie on Instagram.
Nice. Yeah, I think you have like 7,000 followers or something like that.
Yeah, I deleted like 500 of them because they were fake accounts.
Oh, were they? Right?
Yeah, so I'm trying to get only people who are actually engaged to follow. So
yeah.
Well, I'm not trying to inflate my stats like all these other fitness accounts.
But you got some sick training sessions in there.
Yeah, right? And I try to post lots of tutorials and workouts and different things too. So make the channel have some value to people.
I'm not gonna lie, my Instagram presence is like virtually zero. I follow like 4 people, and you're one of them.
Nice.
Go figure, right? Although I also follow Bob Memory, so you know, it's all over the board on that. But yeah, what up, Dr. George? What else do we want to talk about?
Well, I guess I was just wondering, you know, as a closing statement, what can we expect in the future as far as fights? I know with COVID it's a little bit hazy, but when would we see a fight next?
It's tricky, yeah, especially with COVID. They just canceled one of the next shows that was supposed to be up in Edmonton because they're not issuing licenses for another 60 days.
Oh, got canceled.
Just because I guess the hospitals are a little bit strained right now. So probably we'll be in the States somewhere, and probably in the spring. I'm hoping either end of March or April sometime. Get a fight in the States somewhere. But yeah, it's just kind of up in the air right now. This has been a pretty tough 2 years to be an athlete. Kind of feels like your career is getting put on hold a little bit. But just going to try to stay training and put my name out there for as many things as I can, and hopefully get some action soon.
Great.
Yeah, I'm gonna see you get back at it for sure.
Well, for our listeners, definitely follow Scott Smash Mackenzie to kind of stay tuned when to see him next. He's an absolute knockout artist, so you're going to want to catch that. Any fights coming up. And so thanks again for coming on, Dr.
Thanks,
Uchaz.
Smash.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, it's all good.
All right, and thanks to our listeners. See you on the next one.